You know, there are several little things that come together to make us uniquely Jamaican, like our history, our creative minds, and cultural offerings. And today, we'll explore some of those truly unique Jamaican elements. Hi, I'm Theodore Henry, and welcome to today's edition of Jamaica Magazine. We're taking you on a historic walk down a port to a museum, plus so much more. You don't want to miss out on any of that, so stay with us.
Let's get a little breeze on this land. All right. Now let's get some bounce in the rhythm. All right. Let's get some fire on our hearts. Now that is what we call all right. Run, come, get some Jamaica.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, August 14. The International Monetary Fund IMF resident representative to Jamaica, Dr. Constant Lonkengwana, says Jamaica is ready to exit the fund's program come November. He says Jamaica has exceeded expectations during the 6-year period of the extended fund facility and precautionary standby arrangement.
We get calls all the time asking how did the Jamaican people do it, because it's really an economic transformation for such a short period of time.
Dr. Guana was speaking with JIS News on Tuesday. He credits performance indicators such as major declines in public debt to GDP, inflation, and unemployment, as well as the high net international reserve, NIR.
Jamaica has set a new standard for the region, not only for the region, but really for the rest of the world. We've seen a country where the ownership of the economic program was far-reaching. We've seen a country where the broad-based social consensus has allowed two successive administrations to implement sound policy. We've seen a country where we had continuity in the reform, and Jamaican people being engaged in the process to be part of that transformation. So we believe these are features that many countries could learn from.
The water supply and sanitation component of the Major Infrastructure Development Program, MIDP, in the corporate area is on track for completion. According to a revised schedule, the National Water Commission, NWC, says work on Hagley Park Road is to be completed by the end of this month. The installation of water and sanitation pipelines on the Constant Spring Road is scheduled for completion in October. With more than 3,800 meters of pipeline already installed along the Mandela Highway, work there is to be ready by October. In the meantime, the NWC is assuring customers that every effort is being made to minimize further disruptions in this, the final phase of the project. This includes trucking water to affected communities and revising the regulation schedule to improve distribution. Jamaica's synchronized swimming athletes have dominated the 2019 Gige Foreign Language Sports Cup Synchronized Swimming Friendship Competition. Held on July 29 and 30, the friendly meet is part of the Jamaica-China Technical Assistance Project.
Well, they did extremely well at the friendly competition. We dominated every category that we entered, ended the competition with 10 gold medals and 1 bronze. And we noticed that all our scores improved dramatically, so it was very good for us.
Synchronized swim coach Rachel Minto Walker was speaking with JIS News Tuesday. The JIS is in China as part of a 9-member delegation who are visiting Jamaican athletes participating in the 2019 Jamaica-China Technical Assistance Project. The sports agreement was signed by both governments in 2007. Since early July, 138 Jamaican athletes, managers, and coaches in 7 sporting disciplines have been receiving specialized training in China. This latest training will run for 60 days. More than 400 local athletes will travel to the Asian country for training over the next 3 years. Technology Minister Favour Williams says government is far advanced in completing the Data Protection Bill.
Personal data is big business. There are many companies that make a lot of money buying and selling our data without our knowledge. And so the regimes are being created around the world where we will have the right to say how our data is used, our personal data is used.
Minister Williams was addressing a recent staging of the Coders of the Caribbean Hackathon. Organized by Next Gen creators, the event saw 100 young people from across the Caribbean participating in workshops and coding events. And finally, Jamaican students who sat CSEC examinations in May and June may access their test results tomorrow between 2:30 and 5:30 p.m. Students who sat the CAPE exams began accessing their results yesterday in the same time period. Scores can be viewed on the Caribbean Examinations Council's portal, result.cxe.org. The staggered regional release is expected to allow students easier access to test scores. In the past, due to high volume of traffic to the results portal, students found it difficult to receive their exam results. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
Did you know that in a recent survey done by the OCA in schools across Jamaica, 43% of the students received inappropriate messages from strangers? The OCA wants you to be smart online. Never speak to persons you don't know. Parents, encourage your children to be social but be smart.
This message was brought to you by the Office of the Children's Advocate with support from UNICEF.
If you've been spending your summer evenings with the Jamaica Magazine team, you would have seen some ideal places on the island to enjoy a cold and cool summer. Well, today we're bringing you a hot summer, right from the historically rich Port Royal.
A sun-kissed land with the golden beams nuzzling your skin. Boundless beauty from its rural to urban streets, and above all a land with a tropical climate. It's warm weather all year round in Jamaica, but it can move from the extreme cold up high to the really hot down low. This is Jamaica, and this is a hot summer in Jamaica. June 22, 2019 saw the extreme maximum temperature being broken in Kingston, 39.1 degrees Celsius. Well, many will probably tell you that it's one of the hottest parishes in the island, and Port Royal in the parish could provide you with an even hotter but rich summer experience. Let's say this summer you want to pursue a little more than just sand and sea, and want a taste of the island's rich culture demonstrated through history. Then Port Royal offers a unique experience of Jamaica's yesterdays.
300 years ago, when we knew Port Royal, the city began its history as an island not connected to Jamaica. For 33 years after 1655, Port Royal was known as the richest and most sinful or wickedest cities in the Western world due to the piracy and extensive trading activities that took place here at that time. The typical temperature at Port Royal presently is very hot because it's in the summertime. However, despite the weather conditions, we have a lot of visitors coming here for swimming, fishing and recreational activities.
On this historical summer walk, a distinctive structure cementing our history here at Port Royal that you'd be intrigued to learn about is this tilted building known famously as the Giddy House.
The structure, formerly known today as the Giddy House, was actually constructed in 1888 and called the Royal Artillery Store. Its specific purpose was to supply battery complexes with ammunition. That structure got its name, Giddy House, during the second earthquake happening January 14, 1907. That earthquake caused the structure to sink 10 feet into the sand and the top half tilted 15 degrees. So because of that sensation persons get when they enter, we call it the Giddy House.
So it's likely that you'll feel this strange giddy feeling on entering the building, but it's all a part of the unforgettable experience.
Apart from you finding the Giddy House structure here in Port Royal, you can also locate the old Naval Hospital structure. The original structure was constructed in 1812. It got destroyed by a fire in 1815. The structure that we have here today was restored in 1818. That structure is the first prefabricated cast iron structure in the Western world. So it's built on floating rafts. Those structures are buried some 14 feet deep into the earth's surface, so that structure was built to actually withstand earthquakes and slightly sway or swivel with hurricanes.
And then the old British defense settlement wouldn't be completed without a fort.
Another element you can find here inside the town of Port Royal is the fortification called Fort Charles. That fortification was constructed in 1656, built by the British to protect the city of Port Royal and to also prevent enemy ships from entering the harbour.
History still lives on through some of the most unique pieces stored in 2 museums here at Port Royal, even ones from beneath the waves.
The museums that we have here in Port Royal, 2 of them to be exact, those 2 museums contain old man-made exhibits called artifacts. All of them are authentic. Most of them are over 280 years old. They were retrieved from the sunken city of Port Royal. The sunken city is approximately 35 acres of land, which sank during the first earthquake happening June 7, 1692. So inside our museums, you can locate items such as utensils over 300 years old, weapons used by British soldiers in combat. We also found a watch in pieces, French-made to be exact, which stopped at 1143. That's the approximate time period of the first earthquake, June 7, 1692.
A sea might have sunk a piece of an island, but we all enjoy how that sea's cyclical rhythms set the pace for island life and sultry summer excitement.
Apart from to come to Port Royal to tour the fort and to learn about the town's fascinating history, due to the town's strategic location, it is known famously across the world for fishing activities, recreational activities, and meaningfully, there are 2 quays off the coast of Port Royal, one of them most famously being called Lime Quay, the other Maiden Quay. You can get a 20-minute boat trip by taking a sea taxi or a small canoe from the fishing village.
Antiques 3 centuries ago labeled the city as sinful, but history's delicate hands in weaving Jamaica's culture has created a safe haven in Port Royal.
Presently, Port Royal is considered as one of the safest areas in Jamaica. It's known approximately for outside 75 years to have a 0.5% crime rate, with a population not exceeding 1,300 inhabitants, including myself.
So you see, summers in Jamaica can be wherever or however you choose.
We're taking justice to the people of Jamaica.
I am Delroy Chong, Minister of Justice. The plea bargain legislation has been passed. Many persons charged with serious crimes are spending several years behind bars. It did not have to happen. Accept responsibility for your wrongdoing. Get a lighter sentence. Watch your children grow. Please, don't gamble with your future.
A message from the Ministry of Justice.
Our creative people have been studying the value of our locally grown plants for years, and much of these studies have revealed significant healing properties in many of those plants. We now bring you nature's gifts on display at the Natural History Museum.
Necessity is the mother of invention, and we had to find a way to survive. And so for the plants, the natural gift of the Creator, we could rely on it to guide us into what we needed to do. I didn't know about Fenzik and your pharmaceutical things. I know about bush. So if I had a headache, I knew as a child that I should use the leaves of 3 mackerel bush and a piece of cloth and tie it on my head, and the pain would go.
The use of herbs as medicine. While this age-old practice has been overlooked by many, The Institute of Jamaica saw it fitting to mount an exhibition on medicinal plants of Jamaica and their uses, bringing to the present the medicinal habits used in the past.
So at least 330 plants have been found growing in Jamaica, have been identified as having medicinal value. Of that 334, at least 193 have been assessed for their biochemical activities, and 23 of those are actually endemic plants.
Not every plant, though in its natural form is good, is accessible to everybody. And knowing the information about the plant and wanting to get that into the hands of the people, some of our scientists have begun to study extensively some of these plants to see how they can be formulated in such a way so that they can be packaged and be accessible to the public.
You just don't wake up and say, Eureka, I have found it. They would have learned from the people in the community what plants were used for what purpose. So you know all those things in your childhood because they were continually using the plants of nature to assist in what they were doing.
Ever since I was a child, my mom always said me go break a piece of bush to make tea if the tea bag run out. But what was I getting out of it? I had no clue. And sometimes people say it worked, some other people say it didn't work. So that's why I really did the research to find out if these plants actually work. So we started only making butterbrush, which is also known as Callistemon viminalis. And then we broadened and we focused on lemongrass. We focused on most of the herbs that are used by native Jamaicans to cure different ailments.
This is what I would like to engage the people in. Go back to their communities and learn how people lived. A generation which came out of slavery could neither read nor write, and yet they were able to contain themselves and to live. We want the students to have some respect for the heritage of this country because it is going to guide you to the future.
Partnership between Jamaica and the European Union has gone through waves over the years and is as strong as ever today. Here's a look at some of the works of our government and the European Union.
The European Union and Jamaica have been working together assiduously with one sole intent: to create a socially and economically thriving state. This rich history of cooperation is extended among the other African, Caribbean and Pacific Group members.
The legal base of it is Cotonou Agreement.
The Cotonou Agreement was the umbrella arrangement which allowed the delivery of development assistance, the European development funds, which were provided by the EU to assist the development.
It actually expires in 2020, but that agreement defines what the partnership is about, both politically as well as in terms of development assistance. The priorities, despite common belief, are never identified by us alone. So we do not come in and impose any area on the government or the people of Jamaica. This is always discussed and agreed mutually, but as I said, our support is supporting the vision of the government for the people of Jamaica. So if the vision covers 5 or 6 or 10 sectors, in the course of conversation and consultations, we identify those areas that are most pertinent and those areas where our assistance, our experience, our knowledge, our expertise can have the biggest benefits.
The European Union continues to make significant contributions to sustain and strengthen Jamaica's socio-economic development. In its efforts to improve the welfare of Jamaicans, the EU is providing support for the implementation of several programs coordinated through the Planning Institute of Jamaica.
We've had a strong partnership over the 43 years with some 1.2 billion euros being given to Jamaica in the context of our development programs. And we've seen strong collaboration in areas such as justice, in agriculture, and specifically in sugar, what we call accompanying measures to both sugar and banana.
But the other shared priorities that make this partnership very important are global issues. Today, probably the most important issue, apart from peace, is climate change.
The European Union has signed a budget support for the forest sector in Jamaica.
A total of $14 million has been allocated to the sector and will see to the implementation of our climate-resilient national plan. This national plan will enable approximately 40 livelihood projects in communities across Jamaica. It will also support the reforestation of degraded hillsides, other forested areas, and will address the issue of our receding coastline and depleting mangrove forests.
We're also going to be looking at the cockpit country, identifying the new boundary, and that is going to be part of our European Union budget support program.
They are really a partner that's interested in being aligned with our needs as a nation and within the region. So Jamaica benefits from not only the National Indicative Program.
In 2016, the European Union granted $3.3 billion to the Ministry of Justice. This allocation fueled the government's justice reform program.
What we are witnessing today is the handing over of high-tech video link and digital audio recording system. Indeed, today can best be described as a shining moment for the court system in Jamaica, as another giant step has been taken by the Justice Ministry in collaboration with the European Union to upgrade and improve the technological infrastructure of courts island-wide. The modernization of the court's infrastructure is a critical plank of the government's thrust to provide a new, welcoming and refreshing environment for our judges as well as our people who interface with the justice system.
The EU's commitment extends to the health sector through investments under the Poverty Reduction Program. This is an initiative designed to provide quality access to basic infrastructure and services, including sanitation, water and health in underserved communities. The EU also supports the program for the reduction of maternal and child mortality in alignment with the Millennium Development Goals 4 and 5.
And so with that support, we have signed a financing agreement with the EU to the tune of 22 million euros to support Jamaica's achievement of Millennium Development Goals at the time 4 and 5, which spoke to the improvement of maternal health and reducing child mortality. It is a comprehensive program that is not just looking at infrastructure development, but looked at the human resources aspect in terms of building the overall health system. And we are looking to establish 9 high dependency units across 5 facilities in the country.
Spanish Town Hospital is one of the hospitals that have been chosen to benefit from this great project. So 3 key areas would be equipment, infrastructure, and health training of our staff here to support the care of our newborn babies.
I think the ability to care for someone, to create a positive outcome, is something that all healthcare practitioners want and look for. Therefore, if we have all the resources we need to deliver best quality care, I think many of us will be extremely happy.
It can be housing, it can be roads, it can be infrastructure, it could be training and jobs, but always at the end of all our collaboration is our people.
The EU really came on to JSIP to really balance our portfolio between loans and grants. And so our first program, which would have been aptly named the Poverty Reduction Program. And that took us into the deep crannies of the rural areas. And subsequently, the success of that program has led to follow-on grants. And we are focused more now with the program in what we know as the Community Renewal Program.
I'm a recipient of the JSAFE Poverty Reduction Program Scholarship, which paid 90% of my tuition for my first and second year of my time here at the Michael University College. The PRP scholarship didn't only give us or help us financially, but personally, because every 3 months we have a personal development session.
One of the imbalances in Jamaica used to be around, high fiscal deficits and high levels of indebtedness. And I think a lot of the improvements, the reforms and the progress we've seen in public financial management, what we call PFM, the EU has played a tremendous role. They were the first to really engage in terms of, from a budget support modality, and really engaging us in Jamaica in that manner. And we've seen even greater improvements by Jamaica in the area of public financial management, trying to put in place institutions and regulations, legislation to entrench what we call fiscal discipline. The system works, and we are seeing that emerging in Jamaica. Robust systems of public financial management, robust systems of overall macroeconomic management and I think that augurs very well for the country.
So the biggest success is in those projects where we can see how our assistance has helped Jamaican people, how we manage to support the government and deliver something that improves the quality of life of the people in Jamaica.
So, August is still summer season for us here in Jamaica. But it's also a time that is marked by different things that identify our country as a place of choice to live, work, raise families, and of course, to do business. Here are a few of those things. Number 1, in August, it is likely that you'll find fruits bearing, such as jackfruit, plum, soursop, and breadfruit. Number 2, lobster season in Jamaica also falls in August. Number 3, August is usually one of the warmest months of the year on our island home. And number 4, our Jamaican hero and political leader, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, was born in August. He was a known supporter of the Black nationalism and Pan-Africanism movements.
Don't make diseases spread. Wash your hands with soap and water instead. Wash them regular or use a hand sanitizer. Make sure the germs them dead. Touching your eyes or your mouth or your nose. Wash your hands before you do things like those. After you use the bathroom before preparing food, come on, wash your hand them clean.
Today's magazine has come to an end, but if you missed anything, you can watch it all again on our website or our YouTube channel. And you can also keep up with the JIS team on our Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter pages. There's even more to look out for tomorrow, so join us then for more Jamaica Magazine. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Theodore Henry. You take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.